Hi, I'm Scott. Welcome back to Canard Boulevard. Today we're going to be talking about a crash that happened back in the UK on March 18th, where a Cozy Mark IV had an engine failure, was crashed and destroyed, but the pilot got away with minor injuries. This crash has gotten a lot of mainstream press, mainly because of a 3D part in the engine that was implicated in the crash. The official accident report has just come out. Today we're going to talk about how it happened, why it's important to all experimental aircraft owners, not just Canard owners, and how to make sure this never happens again. Coming up. Cozy Mark IV Golf Bravo Yankee Lima Zulu. It was a very, very nice Cozy Mark IV built in 1999 over in the UK. There are pictures of this airplane all over the internet, basically because this airplane is not very common in the UK, so every time it did fly, people would take pictures of it and post it on the internet. The pilot was 69 years old. He had a private pilot's license. He purchased this airplane in 2024. The pilot had 2,483 total flight hours, had 7 hours total in the last 90 days, all of which were in the accident airplane. This incident occurred at Gloucestershire Airport in UK, elevation of 101 feet, and I'll show you why that's important in a moment. So let's look at the accident flight and see exactly what the pilot did, how he reacted, and what happened as a result.
Let's look at the overhead track. It's a nice day to go flying. It was just a simple pleasure flight. You can see he had some pretty decent speeds at times, almost hitting 180, 185 knots with the wind behind him. Did some circling around, look around, see what's going on. Then we're going to circle around and come do a very long and gradual descent from 7,500 feet down to the airport elevation, which I said is 130. And then we get into trouble here, loses the engine, tries to stretch it, doesn't quite make it. So looking at the cockpit view, now keep in mind this is derived from ADS-B data points, so the speed and the altitude may be a little bit delayed, but this is pretty much what he's seeing. This is the approach, and it's sped up by 4 times. So you can see he's descending down between 1,100, and at any moment now the engine's going to fail. And there's startle time, and the first thing he does is pull back on the nose. He wants to trade some of that airspeed for altitude. He wants to zoom climb back up. That's a good reaction. He needs altitude to make the airport because he realizes he's now too low to glide to the airport. So he unfortunately lets the airplane nose over when he's only at 119 knots. And this is far above the best glide speed of about 85 knots. So if he had pulled this back to 85 knots and zoomed up just a little bit farther, I think he would have made it. But there's one more critical mistake that he did make, and unfortunately you can see now he is running out of airspeed. He's trying to pull back. He's at best glide speed here, 85, but now he realizes I don't have the altitude, I don't have the energy. He's starting to pull back more. He's done a really good job keeping that velocity vector right on the runway. That's where the airplane is going, but he just does not have the energy, and as you can see, it's decaying down, and he is not going to make the runway. Now, it looks like he actually ends up in the town here, but the last ADS-B point was lost. It did not get recorded. He actually made it over the buildings and onto the airport property. Unfortunately, there was an ILS array at the end of that runway, and that is what he impacted. He might have been able to make a landing on the grass, but he did hit the ILS array, took out some of that array, and destroyed the aircraft, but walked away. Now, the airplane stayed mostly together, and you can see it did a very good job of protecting him, but something that caught my eye is right here. You can see the landing brake is deployed. I suspect he forgot to retract that landing brake, and as a result, he could have made the runway if he had had that retracted. Now, it's possible that the investigators lowered the landing brake as part of their investigation, and that's not the case at all, and it's not mentioned in the report, but I did see that in the picture here, and I thought that was important. I looked at my own emergency checklist for engine failure, and it does not have landing brake retract, so it does now. I would suggest if you are a Canard owner like myself, and you have your emergency checklist, it does not include retract landing brake in case of engine failure, that you probably should add that because that is something that would be very easy to forget in the heat of the moment. If we look at the profile view of the approach, you can see he is quite low. If you look at that dotted green line, that is a standard 3-degree glide slope for that approach, and he is well below that. So this is what you would call a flat approach. You can see he's come down, he's kind of dragging it out. This is something that a lot of Cozy and Canard owners do that's really not a good idea, because you may end up with an engine failure and you need that altitude. You can see right here, he is now pitching back up. The engine has failed. He is zooming to try to convert that airspeed back into altitude as best he can. He probably could have zoomed a little bit higher to get down to best glide speed. He did cut that off at just over 119 knots. And now he's making the best of his glide, but still he's at 117 knots. If he had actually zoomed up and gone to his best glide of 85, I suspect, again, he probably would have made the airport. So there's a few things he could have done differently here that might have resulted in a different outcome. And I really love looking at things like this because it makes me think, okay, what would I do in this situation? Would I have made that same mistake? I want to make sure next time I go up, I'm going to practice this and make sure that when I do my zoom, I'm going to go and nose over only once I get to the best glide speed. And you can see the last data point leaves him showing in the city, but that's not actually where he ended up. He did make it to the threshold of the runway.
Now we know exactly what happened in the accident, but what caused the accident? The accident was caused by the collapse of a 3D printed induction tube. This induction tube is at the bottom of the engine. At one end has an air filter fastened to it. At the other end is where the air goes into the throttle body or the carburetor, and that's the air that the engine consumes. Typically when this is installed, it's made out of fiberglass and there will be an aluminum ring at the end where the air filter mounts. This one did not have an aluminum ring. It was just the 3D printed elbow. Contrary to what a lot of experts on the internet have said, the owner of the airplane did not create, build, or install this. It was actually installed by the previous owner who bought it at an air show in the US. So I'm guessing that means Sun and Fun or Oshkosh, but there was a vendor selling these 3D printed air induction elbows for the Lycoming IO360 aircraft. Not specifically for Canard aircraft, but it definitely could be used in this application. According to the accident report, when the original owner installed this, the vendor claimed it was CF ABS, which is carbon fiber impregnated ABS, which is the type of plastic that was used to build this. That's important because carbon fiber ABS has a glass transition temperature of 105 degrees Celsius. The glass transition temperature is the temperature at which the material no longer holds its structure, becomes soft, and every polymer has a temperature like this. Now for comparison, if this had been built out of fiberglass and epoxy, which many people have done in the past, the fiberglass epoxy transition temperature is 84 degrees Celsius. So this being 105 degrees Celsius should definitely have been acceptable for this application. The inspector took 2 samples from this induction elbow after the crash and tested it, and one tested at 52.8 degrees Celsius and the other was at 54 degrees Celsius, far, far less than 105 degrees Celsius. Conditions inside the engine compartment can easily reach that temperature and exceed it. Based on the glass transition temperature measured by the investigators, this part is most likely PLA, not carbon fiber ABS. And PLA is pretty much the cheapest material that you can 3D print out of. So it sounds like the vendor was printing this out of PLA because it was inexpensive, and then selling it and lying and saying that it was carbon fiber ABS. That's the assumption we're making here. And that's what caused this accident. If you reduce power, there's a lot less cooling air going into that NACA duct. That means you're going to get more heat in that area. It's going to soften up even more. And because you have an air filter on the front, that is restricting airflow. The engine is sucking air through that air filter, which means there's a partial vacuum inside that elbow. And once it got soft, it couldn't help but just collapse in on itself, which blocked all air from getting into the engine and caused the engine failure. My guess is that we had a very hot engine who had been flying fast and high, and then he had a power reduction and did a very long, slow descent, and the engine compartment got very hot with not a lot of cooling air going in. So how do we avoid this? Well, for EAB owners, participate in your community. If you have a Canard, participate in the various Canard communities. Find out from the experts and the people with lots of experience in your airplane what is the best type of product to use. If you're thinking about using a new product, put it out there and say, hey, will this work? Does anybody see a problem with this? You're thinking about using a part from a small or unknown vendor, especially one you just bought and met at an air show? Test it first. Find out what the TG is. If it's carbon fiber ABS, heat it up. Make sure that it doesn't melt. Make sure it's suited for the application, especially when it comes to 3D printed parts. And for critical engine parts like this, Use accepted traditional methods. Don't use 3D printed parts in your engine compartment. If I were to do this, I would use a 3D printer to print an internal plug and then form the fiberglass around the outside of that. Fiberglass is a known quantity. It's been used and accepted for use inside the engine bay for decades. We know it's going to work. I'm very glad that the pilot was able to walk away from this with minor injuries. It's unfortunate the airplane was destroyed, and boy, he almost made it. He was so close. I will put a link to the actual UK report on this accident in the description below. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. And if you like this kind of video, click like, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.